So first class of the session, I'm really excited. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll get more folks as we go along. We had a really great welcome weekend this weekend. There were like a ton of 30-minute classes. So we each taught a little like preview. So yeah, definitely had some folks who are interested, and I'm sure there'll be some new faces as we go along. But first one, yay. I feel so grateful to be in this space. It feels really good. It feels pretty homey already. And yeah, this is going to be lovely. So basically, the idea of this class is really about coming back to your body, tuning in when so much of what we're encouraged to do is to kind of tune out and ignore ourselves, ignore our needs, ignore our feelings, to the point where days, weeks, months, maybe even years might go by before we really understand like ourselves and how we respond to certain things. So much of this practice is about understanding yourself. Really, the highest goal of yoga is self-realization, synonymous with enlightenment, synonymous with moksha, liberation, all that fun stuff. But that's really about getting to know yourself, getting to know who you are, what you're here for, how you function in this world. Sometimes I like to call it Earth School because it feels very challenging. Yeah. And we have this physical body, which is so intelligent and so beautiful in so many ways and so sensitive. And so we should be, but it's hard to be sensitive in the world as it is. So my intention, my goal is to give you some tools, some techniques for you to better understand and also increase your capacity to be sensitive and to feel safely in a way that feels safe and sustainable and like, okay, yeah, the world might be really messed up, but right now I'm okay. I've got this. I can handle this. No matter what happens, I trust myself. That's so huge. And then when we understand that, when we know ourselves like that, we know where we end and other people begin. We know what's ours versus what's someone else's, and then where those things bump into each other and cause friction. It gets a little easier to kind of tease it apart and understand it and have better conversations and relationships and all those things. So that's a really lofty goal, but a little bit at a time. So if you take away nothing else today, I would love for you to just have a sense of like, what's going on for you this afternoon, this evening. Really, that's it. So a lot of the techniques and tools that I'll encourage you to use and I'll teach you a little bit about have to do with regulating, resourcing in what you have already with you, which is your body, your senses, your breath, your mind, and your nervous system. It has tons of capacity. It has the potential for tons of capacity to feel all sorts of things and to be okay with uncertainty. But most of us don't live there in a place that feels okay to be uncertain. So yeah, I would love for you to start to notice like, okay, where's my edge? What feels like enough? What feels like too much? And that's the kind of sensitivity that's really helpful, is being able to sense your edges. You're like, okay, this is within my tolerance right now, my capacity. And then beyond that, no, I think that's a little too much today. Yeah. So always, I'm going to encourage you to listen to your body first and foremost. Everything that I offer is simply guidance. It's an offering. Take it if it works for you and leave it if it doesn't. There's going to be lots of choices. And a lot of this practice is also designed so that you can do most of it, sometimes all of it, with your eyes closed if you really want to go in. So a lot of it is not at all about what it looks like. It's so much about how it feels. And some of us need to like remember how to feel. That was me for sure. And some days still is. Some days like, oh, right. There's stuff going on in here that's making me behave this way. Yeah. So let's do a little bit of that today. First, I would love to invite you just to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. And it can be sitting on something. I'm already sliding off of mine. That's clearly too much for me today. So use what works. A nice tall spine is always helpful so that you've got a little bit more space, breathing room. Yeah, then maybe roll out the shoulders or even just have a good stretch if you haven't done that in a little while. Ooh. We make some sounds. Moans, groans, sighs are always welcome in my classes and encouraged often. Yeah, yawns are especially welcome. Sometimes that's your nervous system going, oh, yeah, oh, I can relax into this. Oh, I don't have to hold it all together every moment of the day. Yeah, finding a little bit of ease is always nice. And then wiggle yourself into that tall spine. Let your hips soften a little bit if possible. And then maybe the eyes are willing to close. And if they're not, that's okay. Just soften your gaze. You're not really focusing on anything. And begin to take some mindful breaths. Slow inhales, filling your lungs without forcing. And maybe a little longer on the exhales, just watching as that breath leaves and your body softens, contracts, hugs in toward your center. Welcoming each new breath, noticing where it goes in your body. Noticing where there feels like there's some space. And also where you might meet resistance. Where does the breath bump up against tension? Or just the limit of your capacity to breathe right now. And then maybe notice as you keep breathing, maybe part of your awareness can notice your mind, your thoughts. Sometimes it takes a little while for the mind to kind of filter out the distractions, the things that were important up until now, or might be important later. And you can let it have its moment. Sometimes a mental checklist is in fact helpful if it helps you go like, okay, yep, did that. Now I can let that go for the next hour or so. Maybe notice what else is on your mind, or maybe has been on your mind today. Maybe it's also showing up right now. Especially if there's something that's been very persistent, something that's repeatedly coming up, that's worth noticing. Chances are that has something for you. And we don't have to know what the answer is right now, but I'll encourage you to just pose it a question. Just a curiosity about, interesting that keeps coming up. I wonder what that wants me to know, what that's trying to show me. Whatever words feel natural to you. And And then from the mind, perhaps you can drop into your body a little bit, feeling that breath, noticing the sensation, the expansion on the inhale, the contraction on the exhale. Maybe you can also notice if there are other sensations present, maybe a sense of temperature, texture, weight. You may also notice emotions hovering beneath the surface, maybe bubbling up. Maybe there's something that's been on top for you today. And finally, I'll invite you to notice your nervous system. And one of the simple ways to do that is to notice how resilient you feel. Are you feeling more on the raw or sensitive side of the spectrum? Maybe you're easily overwhelmed today. Maybe life feels like a lot. Or maybe you're feeling ready, resilient, capable to handle whatever comes at you. Maybe you're somewhere in the middle or a mix of all of those things. Knowing that you can honor whatever capacity you have today. I'll give you options for doing things slowly, gently, or a little more energetically, a little more challenging. And so just noticing how you're feeling, perhaps you can find an intention, something that feels organic, how you want to meet your edges today. Maybe there's a quality you want to cultivate. Maybe it is slow. Maybe it is graceful, giving yourself grace, kindness with whatever shows up. Maybe it's something else. And if nothing shows up, you can simply ask yourself the question as your intention: what do I need today? Or what would feel helpful or supportive? And then with that question or intention, let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. Yeah, let it go. Inhale. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale. Exhale. And then slowly coming back into the rest of your body. Maybe allowing your hands to move, maybe on your thighs or somewhere else on your body. Maybe give yourself a little hug. It would feel good to move a little bit, maybe to roll your neck and head around. Hmm. Mm. Notice how your body wants to wiggle or stretch or scribble. Just a little bit of free movement for a moment. Hmm. Lovely. And then let's start to feel that breath as a wave. So on your inhale, noticing that little rising sensation. Again, eyes can be open or closed or soft. And as you exhale, notice this falling or heavy kind of sensation and how your body wants to interpret that. Inhaling, maybe your chest lifts, maybe your shoulders move back, maybe your head tilts. As you exhale, what happens then? Does your body collapse, round, move toward the floor? Letting that wave of breath just moving through you a little bit. If your body wants to shake, or if it freaks out a little bit, let it have its moment. That is fine. If you want to sigh it out or hum on the exhale, that is very welcome. Sound, if you use it, can be a direct connection to your vagus nerve, to your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps us drop down into rest, into healing mode, feeling mode. The breath and then the sound both add an additional layer of vibration, of sense, of texture. So noticing that too. Giving yourself permission now to move a little more. And I'll invite you to move your legs into whatever position feels good. We'll stay kind of seated in some shape for a few more moments. But maybe the legs want to stretch out. Maybe they want to cross the other way. See what your body wants. And then finding a little bit of a circle somewhere in your body. Breathing in, maybe the circle moves one direction. Breathing out, maybe it completes. And that circle can be anywhere at all, and it might start to move, travel. It might move through the head, the chest. It might move through the pelvis a little bit. Might even move through your spine. And don't worry about being symmetrical. If one leg wants to move out, but the other one doesn't, you can let that happen. Mm. Putting music also move you in any way that feels good. Maybe that circle goes somewhere else. Maybe it changes direction. Maybe the legs want to shift. Hmm. Wow. I'll invite you to either open up your legs into a straddle or maybe just a bound angle pose. That might be nice. Maybe it's a little more open. See what works for you. Knees could always stay bent, even if they're more open. And then allow this circle to kind of move through your waist. Yes. Just getting a little bit more of the body involved. Still breathing deeply, slowly. Yeah. And as you move in this circle a little more widely, notice those points of tension and resistance. Ooh, maybe slow it down a little bit more. Oh, and notice, oh, yeah, things are maybe sliding and gliding in some places. And maybe some of the other places, they're not sliding and gliding quite as easily. That's good information. It might not feel like good news, but it's good information. And if there is a sticky spot that's particularly kind of touchy or sensitive, you can even isolate the movement a little bit there. Maybe you make a really small circle or you just kind of rock side to side where you feel that. And let the movement kind of soothe it. Sometimes even placing a hand on that sticky spot or around it somewhere can really encourage it to soften and also let your body know that you're paying attention. Your nervous system can respond to that. The mindfulness, the oh no, I'm feeling it. It's okay. I'm gonna go slow. Maybe there's another spot. Maybe you stay with that one. A couple more breaths here. Lovely. And then from wherever you are in either that bound angle pose, straddle, or somewhere in between, we're going to move through a little flow. It's starting to wave in a more specific way. There's always lots of space for more intuitive movement. So on your inhale, lengthen up through your spine. And then on the exhale, you're going to roll down, starting from your head. So your chin tucks, your upper back rounds, curl in through your belly and then toward the floor. And then inhaling, allow your heart and head to lead, stretching the spine away from the hips, moving all the way up until the crown comes over your tailbone. Yes. And then exhale, you're going to reverse that, hinging forward, letting the heart lead on your way down. Nice. Yes. And then inhale, roll up from bottom of the spine all the way to the top so that the head comes up last. So we're going to do that again. Exhale, rolling it down from top to bottom, curling in. And then inhale, extend forward, shoulders back, heart open as you rise. Yes, good. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Let the heart lead as you go forward again. And then inhale, roll it up. One more just like that through the center. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale, extend through the waist, spine, all the way to the top of your head. And exhale, hinge, heart lean. Good. Inhale, roll it up. Nice. Now exhale, turning to your right slightly. I'm going to mirror you here. And maybe the hands come to either side of that leg. Doesn't matter if you're straddling or in that down angle pose. Inhale, again, lengthen first. And now exhale, roll it down toward this right side. You don't have to be right over the leg, just somewhere in that direction. And then inhale, extend, hips anchor you, spine lengthens, crown comes over the tailbone. And then exhale, hinge and fold, heart leads, yes, melt toward the leg. And then inhale, roll it up. And again, exhale, roll it down. Yes. Inhale, extend forward and up. Exhale, hinging and folding down, rounding at the bottom. Inhale, roll it up. Just meeting those edges gently. Don't strain or struggle too much. And one more this way. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale, extend forward and up. Exhale, keep that length as you hinge at the hips, coming forward. Yes, nice. And inhale, roll it up. Good. And exhale, slowly turn toward the other side. Let your rib cage take a second to get there. You might want to wiggle it a little bit, kind of, okay, maybe one side feels tighter than the other. Yeah, also, right? Totally same. And then inhale, find that length. And exhale, roll it down. Inhale, extend forward and up. Yes, lots of space from tailbone to crown. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold, leaning with the heart, round at the bottom. And inhale, roll it up. Contract through the belly, roll up through your spine to the top of the head. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, extend forward and up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, roll it up. And one more this way. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale, extend forward and up. Exhale, hinge and fold. And inhale, roll up from bottom to top. And then just come back to center. Maybe sway a little bit side to side. Ooh, take a moment to do anything that feels good here. It can be super flowy, but it doesn't have to be. Move like you. I dance a lot, so sometimes my yoga and my dance look very similar. Yeah. Move like you. Move how your body wants to move. And maybe it's just like it wants to roll the ankles. Maybe it just wants to twist a little bit side to side again. Good. And when that feels complete enough and there's no rush at all, when it does feel complete enough, you can start to transition onto hands and knees. This is where those blankets might also come in handy if your knees are sensitive. I like to have one behind me. Yeah. And it really doesn't matter where you're facing. Yeah. And maybe you just start with a little wiggle through the hips or through the spine. Oh. So simple. Same. Maybe the circle starts to move through your body in some way. It might be a horizontal circle, it might be a vertical circle, it might just be your hips circling, it might be your head circling. It really doesn't matter what it is. Just exploring a little circle. And if it turns into a wave or a figure eight or something, go with it. If that's what your body wants to do, let it do it. Breathe and let your body move. So we'll explore a lot of those foundational shapes in different ways: circles, waves, spirals, figure eights. They're foundational and they're always so good. It seems so simple, but there's so much you can do with that. We do. Yeah, well, we live in a world that's so linear focused, so rigid. Exactly. And you explore and you experiment. And we all need a little bit of that childlike play and figuring out how our bodies move and what they want to do and what we can do. Yeah, I think that's lovely. Yeah, and if your kind of table shape morphs into something else, again, let it. Maybe that feels really good. Not gonna lie, a lot of the time when I'm practicing, it's rolling around on the floor. And it can be really good to roll around on the floor. Not only is it a good surface, it's also good feedback. Yeah, that hard, flat surface can tell you a lot about your symmetry or lack thereof. What feels stiff, what feels sticky, all of that. Good. And then maybe you'd like to settle at some point into a little child's pose. Maybe knees go a little wider. Maybe head rests on the hands. And maybe you just wiggle there for a second and take a couple breaths, letting the floor and the earth below hold you. And whether you're still or just relatively still, notice what that feels like in your body and how the movement is settling in to your cells, how the stillness feels in comparison. Lovely. And then with your inhalation, let's slowly peel ourselves back up to hands and knees for a moment. Bring those knees underneath your hips, really landing in table for a second. Spread the fingers really wide as you can, letting the knuckles meet the floor, taking some pressure off of the wrists. Good. And then just a little rocking. Let's go front to back first. As you go forward, press into those knuckles. Feel the weight in your fingers. And then as you go back, letting the weight come off. Noticing maybe the shoulders, how they feel. Inhaling forward, let your shoulders stay back as your heart reaches forward. Yes. And then exhale, just a little rocking back. Yeah, just feeling the weight, noticing the stability in your shoulders. Or maybe they don't feel so stable. And then again, maybe you want little circles here. Maybe like you've got a pencil attached to your chest. And if you were to draw a circle between your hands with it, just kind of circling over the wrists.
Deep breaths and letting this circle land in your joints. Maybe you feel it most in the wrists. Maybe you feel it most in the shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then reversing that, take the circle the other way just to even things out a little bit. Keeping it nice and slow. Good. And then landing back in the center. So the chest is right between the thumbs. And now as you inhale, allow your shoulders to kind of shrug back. Shoulder blades come toward each other on your back and the elbows stay fairly straight. That's okay. We're going to try. For a lot of us, it's going to feel really weird. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there just might not be that much range right now, and that's okay. We'll try it. And then on the exhale, you're going to push the floor away and try to round that space between your shoulder blades. Yes. Yes, like a rainbow from arm to arm. Good. And then inhale, allow your chest to dip down, but the shoulders are really moving back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together if you can. And then exhale, push away again. Yes. Push, push, push. Firming up the arms. And let's try one more of those. Inhale, let your heart move toward the floor as the shoulders move back. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Yeah, it'll feel weird. It still does for me too. And then exhale, push the floor away. Oh, space between the shoulder blades. Good. And then you can allow that to soften a little bit. And maybe you want to roll out those shoulders. Lovely. Yes. And then we're going to take a little bit of a different position here. So let's take the right leg first. I won't mirror you for this one because we're all kind of facing different directions, so it doesn't matter so much. So right leg out to the side from your table shape. Yeah, wherever you want to face is totally fine. Right leg out. And then I'll invite you to walk your hands back and start to come up onto that left knee and right foot. Good. And then let's take this right arm down the right leg. Inhale the left arm up. And as you exhale, maybe a little side bend, just small to start, feeling your core kind of light up. And then inhale, rise out of it. And then exhale, go back in. Yes. Inhale up. Maybe the arms kind of want to flow with you. Exhale, finding that side bend. Inhale as you rise, feel your core pulling you up. Yes. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. And one more like that. Exhale. Inhale up. Good. Take those right toes, point them out and bend the knee. And now we can go kind of into the hips, letting the hips come up and then down. And it's kind of like a little warrior two, but we're on the knee instead of the foot. Yeah, and you can express that through your arms if you like. You can reach one way and the other. You could have hands on your hips or maybe even elbow on the knee. There's no wrong answer. Maybe just play, explore. What feels good? Where do your arms want to go? How deep does it feel you can go in the shape? Yeah, maybe a big circle through one of your arms or both. That could feel good. Yes. Sometimes there are different shapes that your body just wants to make without you thinking about it too much. Lovely. And then maybe the hands want to come back down in this shape. Maybe you want to kind of sit toward that back foot. Maybe you just want to wing that right knee kind of in and out. Again, there's no wrong answer. Just see what's possible. You can be. I am. You don't have to. Toes can be tucked or untucked. There's lots of options. Go with what feels good or interesting or needed.
This is probably the worst one yet.
Yeah.
It's hitting like this leg and this at the same time.
Okay. It means you're feeling something. Yeah, exactly. And let's just take that as information. It's like, oh, okay, this thigh's really tight. This hip's tight. Maybe you are dehydrated. That's very possible. Yeah. And just another breath or two with whatever this shape wants to be for you. Yes, lovely, Teresa. And then maybe you come back up. And sometimes I like to extend that leg and then kind of move forward and back as well. Maybe that gets into the groin a little bit. Kind of like half frog or half child's pose or something. You can call it what you want. Lovely. And then coming back up to table when you're ready. And you can release that leg back. Maybe wiggle it out. Yeah, maybe give it a good stretch. You can always reach the leg back. And reset if you need to with a little bit of that movement. It's kind of like windshield wipers, except it's the knees that are still and the hips are what are windshield wipering. Yeah. Now let's try that on the other side. And it might be a very different experience. So left leg is going to go out. Yeah. So maybe, maybe that was your open side. And this might be your less open side. Maybe it's the other way around. Walk your hands in towards you and start to come up onto that right knee and left foot. Good. And then let's inhale that left arm, or sorry, right arm up. And then exhale over. Let's finding that little side bend first. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Maybe you're like a little piece of seaweed kind of floating, moving with the current. Maybe both arms. Maybe they do something entirely unexpected. Maybe you take big arm circles. Breathe and just feel like, oof, what does this feel like on this side? Good. And maybe when you come back up, you can point those left toes out and start to bend the knee. And allow your hips to move toward that left foot and away. Toward and away. Yeah. Using the legs to move you here, the pelvis as the power. Okay. Like a good hurt. Yeah. Hurts so good. I love it. Ah, yeah. And sometimes each side is just different. It's like, oh, this is more open this way, and this is more open in a different way. Yeah. And we don't really use our bodies as symmetrically as we might think we do. Understood. Yeah. And sometimes you have an injury, and that affects the openness, the mobility, the fascia, and how much restriction is there. Yeah. And so we're just looking for what feels like balance. It doesn't have to look the same because it might not actually be that way. Yeah, exactly. But does it feel like you're balancing things out? That's kind of what we're aiming for. Or maybe you're just taking in information. And that's what it is today. And maybe the hands want to come down. And maybe you want to kind of move forward and back with this. Maybe you do want to sit on that right foot a little bit, just as you need to. Hmm. Oh, and sometimes where you move your upper body can make a big difference. If you lean one way or the other, sometimes it really feels very different. You might just want to wing that knee in and out. Yeah. Just looking at that. Yes, I heard that. I heard that. Yeah. All our joints and things are clicking and creaking over here. Yes. Yeah. I can do that. This is what I've been after for 2 weeks. Oh, wow. It's so nice when it finally gives in. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. And maybe to finish on this side, you might want to extend that leg again and move forward and back a little bit. Oh, I love this track. Big bonobo fan over here. Breathe. Good. And whenever it feels ready, you can release the leg back. Maybe you take it into a big stretch. Good. And then maybe we'll try a little wave because the song is kind of asking for that. So for this wave, we'll let it move through our whole spine. So as you inhale, allow your tailbone to tuck under and let that ripple you forward. And then exhale, allow the tailbone to tilt and lean you back. Yeah. And if you do it the opposite way, that's fine. Inhale, kind of come forward, let the pelvis push you forward. And exhale back. Let it drag your body back with it. Yes. Power coming from the pelvis. Inhale forward. Maybe the heart opens at the end and then exhale. Yeah. And again, if this changes into something else that just feels natural, go for it. That's kind of the idea. So the suggestions are to get you started and then find what feels good in your body. Maybe it changes into a hip circle or a chest circle, or you move between upward dog and downward dog. Like, who knows? There's so many things that could happen. Like we said, it doesn't have to be linear, it can just be organic and fluid, experimental. One more. Lovely. And then maybe you'll slowly land on your belly and kind of roll down. Maybe you kind of wiggle your hips with you a little bit. Maybe you take a full body stretch. Yes. Awesome. Oh my gosh, yes, it's the best. Yeah. And so when that happens, it's like, okay, you've discharged the energy and now your body gets to settle. Now your nervous system gets to settle. Yeah, totally. Right. Oh, yes, if you're paying attention enough to listen. So let's there's a couple options here I want to offer you. So one is a little more supported with the hands next to the chest for a typical kind of cobra where you can really push into the floor. And if you want to go a little looser, you can take the hands a bit wider, and it can be on palms, it can be on fingertips. But we're going to lead with the heart and the shoulders. So first, your legs are going to engage. Reach them back long, and then press the tops of your feet into the floor. Yes, and then pelvis also presses into the floor so that your tailbone kind of reaches down toward the heels. And then from there, inhale, roll the shoulders back and peel yourself up gently. Yes, and then exhale, kind of peeling down. Lovely. Inhale, roll it up. Shoulders lead, heart follows. Exhale, come down. Inhale, roll it up. Exhale it down. Inhale. Exhale. And a couple more. Inhale, roll it up. Maybe you've got a little more space after a few. And exhale it down. Last one. Inhale, roll it up. And exhale. Come all the way down and allow your arms to stretch out to either side like a T shape. Relax the hips. Maybe you wiggle them a little bit side to side. Just letting your low back loosen. And then when you're ready, we're going to do just a little shoulder work here, and then we'll stretch it out. So shoulders here are going to do the lifting. You can start with whichever arm you like. I'm going to start with my left just because it's the one that's closest to you guys. So from here, try not to use anything else except your shoulder and shoulder blade to lift that arm. So your shoulder blade is going to kind of slide back toward your spine. Yes, and exhale, shoulder blade slides out to lower your arm. Inhale, shoulder blade contracts toward the spine. You might not get very high. I've been practicing this for a while, and I didn't start that high at all. Exhale. Yeah, I think I started like here. And so inhale, contract that shoulder blade, focusing on that, and exhale, let it slide as smoothly as you can. And let's try one more. Inhale, contract that shoulder blade to let your arm lift. And exhale, slowly lower it down. Good. Take a breath. And then you'll turn your head to the other arm. And we'll focus on that one for a moment. So same thing. Inhale, contract the shoulder blade to let the arm lift. Contract, contract, squeeze the shoulder through the spine, and exhale, let it lower slowly with as much control as you can. Inhale, contract that shoulder blade, lifting the arm. Exhale it down. Notice if other parts of your body are trying to help you, and try to soften them and just let the shoulder do the work. Inhale, shoulder blade contracts, not the other shoulder blade, not your hips, not your feet. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, contract the shoulder. Exhale, let it lower. And last one. Inhale, contract that shoulder, letting the arm lift. And exhale, slowly lower it all the way down. Good. And then nice and slow, we're going to stretch it out here. So you can keep your head toward the arm that you just used, because we're going to stretch the other one. And in order for that to happen, our head has to be facing away from it. So with that first shoulder, for me, it's the left one, press the top of that shoulder down into the mat so there's no space between the floor and your shoulder. And then bring the hand that you're looking at in toward your chest.
And now you're just going to use that hand to kind of push your chest open. And maybe you stack that top leg in front of you, kind of bending the knee. Or maybe if you've got some more space, that foot might step behind you. And the knee might point up to the ceiling. Yeah, so just working with where you're at. Allowing your body to twist if it wants to, or maybe you're just in that kind of propped up position with the knee in front of you. Take some deep breaths into that shoulder or wherever you might be feeling this, because it might not just be your shoulder. When we feel something in these postures, it's usually the first place where there's resistance. So maybe the place for you is that shoulder, and that's where you're meeting the resistance. Maybe it's your hips or your waist that's feeling tighter, and that's where the resistance is felt first. It doesn't mean it's wrong, it just means that we're all different. Let's take a few deep, full breaths here. Inhale, filling the lungs without forcing. And exhale, letting it all spill out slowly. And maybe one more deep breath. And then using the hand that's in front of you, you're going to slowly guide yourself back down onto the belly, letting your legs stretch out behind you. And pause for a moment there. You can always bring your hands in if that helps you. And just rest your head for a moment. And just notice the after effect. Can you still feel that stretch? Depending on how subtle or how strong it was, it might dissipate quickly, it might take more time. Oh, yay. I'm so glad. Y'all came in and I was saying to Kayla that I only had 4 hours of sleep, and she was saying she was pretty low energy. So I was like, let's just do like a floor-based class today. And often it's like this, where we don't necessarily need to even stand up. How nice is that? Let's go to the other side. So the arm that you just had close to you, you're going to extend that one out. Roll that shoulder down, and you're going to face away from that extended arm. Your other hand comes close to your chest. Push into it to open. And maybe that top leg just kind of bends and stacks in front of you. Maybe it wants to go to the side, kind of on top. Note to self, don't wear a loose shirt next time because the microphone moves. Yeah. And then breathe. Wherever you land with this, finding a little edge or maybe a deeper edge, depending on how much you want to feel. What feels like enough? What feels like, oh, maybe that's too much? You can always back off. And slow, steady breaths, filling the lungs to full without forcing. And letting them empty slowly with control. Smoothing out that breath. Letting your exhales maybe be a little longer than your inhales. It's one of the easiest things you can do to signal to your body that it's safe to let go, it's safe to relax, it's safe to kind of come down is to change the breath. And then the breath changes everything else. And those longer exhales are how we down regulate. So if you've been really activated or if you're feeling anxious and it's not useful, you can lengthen those exhales up to twice as long as your inhales. Couple more. And then again, slowly use the hand in front of you to guide you back down to the floor, rolling onto your belly, letting your hips square up. Maybe resting your head on your hands. Do it feels good. And then in a moment, we're going to transition into a seat just for a second. And you can do that one of two ways. If you really want to be gentle with yourself, maybe you take one arm forward, pull your knees in so that you're on your side for a moment, and then you just press your way up that way. If you rather come back through hands and knees or take a little child's pose to get there, you're welcome to do that also. I like to leave my head heavy. Lovely. And we'll just finish with a little bit of actual vagus nerve manipulation. We're going to do that with our hands. So you're going to find the little flap in front of your ear, and the one like it's really at the front, and if you close it, you can just hear yourself, that flap. And we can do one side at a time, or you can do both sides together. And we're just going to grab that flap. I use my thumb and first finger. Just kind of squeeze and release, or make little circles and breathe. Breathe as you do this. So the vagus nerve travels. Vagus means wandering. So it wanders through the body. It's a cranial nerve. So it starts at the brain, and then it moves through the neck, through the ear, through the jaw, through the eyes. So there's lots of those nerves really close to the surface here, especially. Oh, and if you get a yawn or feels like a sigh or sense of release, that's your nervous system responding. And so it's just good to notice, okay, does my nervous system respond? Does it take a little more time? Lovely. Mm-hmm. And then you can even do a little bit of massage on either side of the ear. I like to kind of split my fingers like Mr. Spock. Yeah. Oh, lovely, lovely. Yes. Hmm. And then we'll take those fingertips and just start to bring that to your hairline. Inhale. And then exhale down. And then maybe down the sides of your neck towards your collarbone. Let's do that a couple more times. Starting at the hairline. Inhale. And then exhale. Lots of those nerves very close to the surface on your scalp. Yes. And one more time. And exhale. Good. You can just let your fingers kind of drag down, and maybe they land on your lap or on your legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to move into our resting position. And you have a moment to get there. You might decide that you want to kind of curl up in the fetal position again. Maybe you go there. Maybe you come onto your back. Maybe you wiggle around for a moment, take a final stretch or any other shape that you like. And then what I like to do often, and if you find your low back complains at all, it's a good option, is to bend your knees a little bit and let your bolster kind of support the knees or thighs. Yeah. You might use a blanket if you're a little chilly, you want to be cozy. I've got an extra one here if you need it. Just give me a little wave. I'd be happy to bring it over. And once you've had a little wiggle or a final stretch, you can let your body start to settle. And maybe do a little scan, noticing, am I gripping? Am I bracing? Am I holding myself together anywhere? And if so, can you allow that to just soften a little bit, letting the floor hold you, knowing that your body will hold you together whether you're trying to or not. And then you can allow your mind to let go of its focus. There's nothing left that you need to do here. You don't even need to control the breath. You can let that go as well. It might take a few moments for the breath to find its natural rhythm, but it will. And you can take this space, these last few moments, to just find this stillness or relative stillness. Letting the practice settle into your cells.
Very slowly, you can start to become mindful of your breath again. Maybe deepening your inhale a little bit with each cycle. Letting that reawaken your mind. And then maybe your body finds a little bit of movement, something small to start. It could be wiggling your fingers or toes, rocking your head side to side. And gradually, a little more movement. Maybe you roll out some of the other joints, moving up the chain. Maybe you take a big full body stretch or hug everything in. Mm. If you are on your back, bend your knees. Take one arm overhead, whichever you prefer, and then slowly roll onto your side, pausing there for at least a breath or two. You can stay longer in that shape if you like. There's no rush. And whenever you are ready to come up to seated, again, maybe you want to press into your hands gently, leaving your head heavy. And just find what's comfortable to close. Maybe you bring your hands onto your body. Maybe they come to your heart center, whatever you like. Just taking one last moment for yourself. Notice how you feel. What you can sense right now. Whether there's been a shift in your state, nervous system, body, mind, breath, whatever it is. Maybe you can even hang on to that as long as possible. And thank yourself for practicing, for showing up, for doing the work, for being open and curious. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you.